These are the sheepdogs of the marine world. Without harbor tugboats, megaships could never get into port. And we'd run out of oil, food, and pretty much everything else in a matter of days. As the size of ships have increased, so have the demands put on tugs. Conventional harbor tugs working here in Vancouver need all the help they can get. And it comes from this tractor tug, the newest and toughest member of the family. A sumo wrestler and dancer all in one that can push and turn a Leviathan 1,000 times its size. Let's see how it works. Tugboats need two things to get their job started: a big, powerful engine and a special hull design that allows them to dig into the water. Essential to help monsters like these parallel park. These harbor tugs pack around 1,800 horsepower. This tractor tug is driven by two 3,000 horsepower diesel engines. Precision-tuned with computer-monitored fuel injection and turbochargers, each one of these engines could power a full-size locomotive. All the horsepower in the world means nothing if you can't somehow get a grip and create leverage. The secret to winning that battle is in the hull. Tugs are kind of like icebergs. A big part of them live underwater. They ride low under the enormous weight of their engines, and as they power up, they sink even further. That's because they're built with something called a heavy displacement hull. Instead of riding on top of the water, it sinks into the trough of its own wake. More contact with the water means more friction and more pushing power. But to guide ships in and out of narrow harbor entrances, modern tugs need a lot more than power and grip, including independently controlled props, keels that go on the front of the boat, and indestructible winches. Even with all that friction and horsepower, these machines often work in teams. They have to on this big fella that's all loaded up and ready to head back to sea. The tugs take aim at clearly marked sweet spots and quickly push the freighter into a shipping lane. That's the work of a basic harbor tug. Heavy displacement hull, big engine, lots of tires. But with moves like these, this tractor tug is destined for something more. When it's not managing this massive parking lot, it goes out to meet ships and guide them through narrow harbor entrances. If it needs to slow them down, it just hangs on with the winch, pulls the other way, and becomes an aquatic emergency brake. To be effective, escort tugs require advanced engineering, starting with these Azimuth Z-Drive thrusters. Thrust comes from huge propellers. These cones increase their power. And the whole rig can spin a full 360 for total control on the water. They allow an experienced hand to steer on a dime, move forward, backward, and sideways. Two controllers, each connected to a Z-Drive. Twist the control to turn the blades. Push them forward to control thrust. Commands are sent electronically to two sets of gears, an outer ring gear that controls direction, and an inner drive shaft that connects the engine to the propeller blades. The azimuths are great for pushing around boats, but they're even better when teamed up with the tug's powerful winch. Driven by a large 250 horsepower motor and equipped with a 300-meter fabric line, it's light enough to float, and unlike steel cables, it doesn't rust. This rope is so strong, you'd need the thrust of 10 F-16 fighter jets to pull it apart. And that comes in handy for this tug's most advanced move. It starts by hooking up to the back of a ship, then moves out to one side, and finally with the help of its powerful drives and front keels, digs in and rotates the ship like a giant rudder, turning vessels 10 times faster than it ever could with a simple push. Tugboats may look small when sitting next to mega ships, but they're all muscle and fancy footwork, helping take goods out and bringing them in. A big gear in our economic engine.